welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the garage door open, the sun is shining and snow's falling from the roofs. Got some of the Warriors out here. We've got the Mrs. Beamer, which is up for sale. That should be selling in the next couple of days. The RX-7 is outside getting all the cool air on the intercooler. The Doodlebug, the saviour, is there in the background. We've got the Rangy and the Civic. Well, look what happened yesterday. Oh my god. Yeah, snapped the alloy. Pretty raging with that. Long story, but anyway, that's not what this video is about today. Today's video, we're going to be stripping apart the D16Z6 engine. So yeah, just waiting for the engine to come along. My pal John is coming along. He's big into sort of Hondas and stock cars and stuff like that. So he's got a spare D16 engine. Yeah, that's what we're going to use as our mule. We're going to be taking the D16 stuff. We're going to be stripping it down. We're going to be pulling the crank out the block. We're going to be modifying the oil system on the Girdle. I'm going to show you that. You're going to be like, what the fuck? Because it's not a common modification. Porting oil pumps, the usual sort of stuff, just to try and make this as reliable as possible. We'll maybe even stick the crank on the lathe and just give it a little bit of a polish. Not taking any material off, just a bit of a polish. And there he goes. Oh, that's John just come off and dropped off the engine. And here we have it. Obviously got D16Z6. These guys use these for stock car racing, so they normally chuck carbs on and stuff. So it is a bare engine, which is fine because it's easier for me to strip down. So yeah, where I'm going to start? Probably whip off the timing belt, all that jazz. I've never taken one of these apart. This video is not a how-to either. You know, if you guys are watching me, you've probably seen me disassemble a few engines by now. I'll show you the main bits, but I'm draining the oil there. Don't worry about that stuff, that's just old in there. But if you look at the black, you know, the black oil that's coming from it just now, there's no metallic shine, so that's normally your first sign if your bearings are going. Yeah, quite happy with that. Look at these little ports. Oh, we're going to have to do something about that, aren't we? Oh yeah. This bitch looking clean. Look at the little valves on it. The wee valve springs. They're quite long, slinky things. Oh, cool. So everything looks in place. Everything looks relatively clean. This looks like a good engine. Thank you, John. Thanks, John. So, all I've done is literally, not even undone any of these caps. I've just done the main bolts and the timing belt off. And I can't see anything else, so the reason why this head won't come off. So, let's give it a whirl. I think I'm going to have to put you in my jacket here. Look at that. Hey, hey. Let's go. What the fuck? Just like that. There we have it. These ones is open, so that's fine. But no damage. A wee bit of corrosion there. Yeah. A little bit there, but we'll clean it up. We'll see what like. Yeah, it looks like this head gasket's been done before, possibly, because it looks like that's been decked. Yeah, just had a new head gasket at some point. That's no biggie. So we'll probably reuse this one with a little bit of copper seal. Yeah, you guys will be hating me right now. And here we go. Here's our actual boards. God, this engine and pistons is small. Really small. It's another thing boys on the internet are going to be screaming at me right now for. Jesus, that's precision. Yeah, that's going to be nice. So, going by the look of the sump, like these bolts, a lot of them were they're supposed to be M10, but a lot of them were sort of rounded and fucked. So by that way, I don't think the sump's ever been off. So that's good in respects, because what's underneath should be pretty stock. Woo! Let's have a look in here. Let's have a look in this sump first. Oh yes, that looks really clean. Obviously it's oily, but there's no sheen and there's no metallic surfaces or substances. Okay, and this here is one of the main modifications I'm going to be doing. These cranks, right, so I need to go back a little second. So this engine is the Z6. The Y8 has a different style crank where it's basically cross-drilled. These ones here are drilled from the journal to the main journal to the rod journal. With this wee ball bearing there, that's pressed in to seal it, but basically the drill goes through, and then these are drilled across there. So they've basically got 2 oil holes inside them, which allegedly is better for lubrication. However, number 4 journal and mains always spin. Like it doesn't matter if it's on a Y8 or a Z6, these tend to happen on Y8s more often for some reason. It might be down to that single oil and hole. However, the oil comes up through here and then down here and shoots towards 1 and 2. And then obviously you've got 3 mains, 4 mains, and you've got your 5th mains here. Obviously it is a 4-cylinder, but 5th mains. And these ones is the last in the line, and these are the ones that tend to spin. So my idea is I'm going to take this girdle off, and I'm going to make a tube and weld in a tube that comes from here and it comes along and goes into here. So basically the oil comes up here and it can go 2 ways. Fed towards this one here, number 4 rod, and fed to the front. And I'm thinking that should make a difference. I mean, that to me is just a design flaw. And I'm going to try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Right, so we have the girdle off here. These are the mains bearings itself. They look clean at this side, obviously, because they're not the wear inside. So if I just gently lift this up. So this one here is number 1. Give this a bit of a clean. The crank looks okay. One thing I'll be doing is a technique called teardropping the crank holes. Teardrop. There's a couple of different names for it. But basically this is number 1's mains. And yeah, it looks in decent condition. There's no like shite in there stuck in, and it has the stock coating on it. So that one there is going to be number 1. Right, so here we are, right? We have the rod bearings here. So this is number 4, the ones I was worried about. This is the power stroke, so this is the top one. As you can see, a little bit of wear here, sort of discoloration, but that's sort of what you get with high mileage. I mean, it's taken off the coating, but it's not taken down to the copper yet. And this is obviously the bottom side of it, which is like still pretty much like brand new. And that is the same for all of them. You know, they are all about the same. Like this one's here, they all have this markings here. That can be from cold starts, you know, if the crank's been sitting for a while, you know, that sort of thing can happen. These are the mains, which I'm a wee bit more worried about because the coating has come off, the protective coating, and I'm seeing a little bit of sort of a coppery colour around about here. I've not got the other sides off yet. In fact, I should be able to do that now if I lift the crank up. Oh, fucking hell. Don't know if this is a bit heavier if it's stuck. There's the thrust washers as well. Let's get this over here. You know, directly proportional to basically clutch. You know, your clutch wear is what wears on these. So let's put you up there a wee second. There's one of the bolts. Keep these wee nuts. I don't think I'm going to be using the stock cotton nuts again, but we'll keep them. These look in really good condition, apart from this one. So this one here, I don't know if you can see that in the camera, you can see a little bit of copper here. Not sure why there's copper in this one and none of the rest. I guess on the top. It could be because this is the timing belt side, and maybe a wee bit too much tension on the timing belt maybe. You know, and the pulley, that's maybe pulled this up a little bit, and that's what's given this here. However, you know, the power stroke is this way, which is pushing down the way, so this is probably a result of that. But like I say, no deep scores, it's just like high mileage wear. Right, everything's on the floor, everything's stripped apart. I just took the old honing tool just for a quick walk doing this, and it'll clean up nicely. I'm not seeing any lips or anything like that. So, right, so you guys, I don't know if you've used a dial bore indicator before, but basically you use it, it's easy to see around. I mean, I have got the T-type tools here, which are good as a base, and I use these on the Myra. Basically they're spring teed, and you spring them out to the size of the barrel, and then you lock them and measure them. So this is a slightly more accurate way, or a different way of doing that, I don't know. So this here is a calibrated 75mm piece that we use to calibrate these pieces, and I know it's in the vise, it's only in very lightly, it's not even nipped up, it's just sort of snugged in with the towel, because some folk like machinists will be kicking off big time about that. And basically I tighten this down until that matches bang on 75, because these cylinders should be pretty much near enough 75. The reason we measure them out is so we've got the piston to wall clearance. I've got the D16 pistons here, and you measure the skirt basically, which is the widest point of the piston, because you don't really see it, but this is the widest part and the piston's narrow up here. So we measure at the skirt, and at this one here I've got 74.94, which is 0.06 of a mil space between the cylinders, if they're perfectly 75, between there and there, and I want around about 0.02 millimeters will give me that value. So basically put this on here, 75, and when that's 75 I put my dial bore indicator in, and basically I zero out the gauge, and at that point there this is calibrated to 75. I put it in the barrel, rack it back and forward until I get to the lowest value, and that tells me my clearance. So I have 0 in the gauge, and try this again. So we tilt it over till we get to our highest number, 0.02, and then it starts going up again. So 0.02, and as you can see the cylinders, I've given them a bit of a clean up with the honing tool. So 0.02 added on to 0.06 is 0.08, and 0.08 is exactly where I want to be. So if the rest of the cylinders end out that same size, I'm going to be very happy. Definitely stiffer around the edges, that's for sure. And this is just like a nylon hammer. It's not going to damage any surfaces. It looks good, if that counts for anything. But, and I can see what people are saying here. The idea of this is actually to stop these guys flexing out. And yes, it's a nice tight fit around here, but there is gaps, you know, between here and the wall. You know, it's nice and tight around the cylinders, but it's not tight up against the edges. So that will still cause us to flex. So I'm going to have to shim these. I'm either going to shim it or pin it. But yeah, that's going to be a must. For this to work properly, that's definitely going to have to be shimmed. Check this out. So I got this parts washer off a friend called Dwayne. He's also got a single jingle, and he's actually probably one of the main guys behind this build. Helping me out guys with the parts. Check this. This thing's going to be brand new, and I like the wee spout that comes out it, because that's handy for pushing through journals and stuff like that and cleaning it all out. So I want to show you this. as you can see, liquid is pissing out of that one. That one, that one. Not so much that one and hardly that one. This is what I want to try and sort. So, this is the bit where I'm going to work on this girdle. So the idea is to have this pipe go this way so it feeds both sides. It's going to be very tricky to get down in there, and it's going to be even trickier to get it all welded up. Woo-wee! I've been doing a lot of die grinding, that's for sure. But there's no going back now, boys, because yeah, we've now got a hole in here. I've ported it all out nicely. A hole in here, ported out nicely. I just need to finish this up here, this piece, so it sits in there nicely, and we'll have an oil grill modified. So the oil comes up here, goes both ways. So, right, so I have got the girdle. Let me switch this light off a little bit. Girdle's all on, and I've torqued it down, just because I don't want to distort any of the machine surfaces. So yes, just while I'm TIG welding it, because TIG welding can get hot and aluminium does warp a bit. So it's good to have the block and use it as a bit of a heat sink. So right, so as you can see, got the first weld there, 2 tacks there, and there's no going back now. So it's been probably a couple of hours now, but as you can see, I've now put this on here. This is all ported and stuff like that as well. Not bad welding. Some of it was a bit of a cunt because obviously it cast, and welding in there was quite difficult, but I'll show you what it's like now. Hopefully you can see this, because it is actually flowing to all the ports equally. Pretty cool. So now that that's done, very last thing I'm going to do is basically use a die grinder, and I'm going to notch this barrels here. It's the pistons I'm using are JE. You'll excuse the mess just now because I'm still to set these all up and measure them and stuff, but I've done obviously the measuring the pistons and stuff, but more weights. Anyway, sorry. So this here is the max speed and rods I'm going to be using, and I need to notch the block for these to fit. Look at this. But look at this. Woo! On to the other side. Right guys, so there we have it. We have a notch girdle. We have the notch block. We have cranks getting washed. We've got, you know, our pistons and rods are ready to go. The head, probably just leave it stock. Pan and everything's all cleaned out. Head studs, eBay head studs, £26. Folk hate on them. Be fine. And obviously the max speed and rods. These are proper nice. And even next to my Brian Crowers that I'm using for my K24, they look good quality. So. Yeah, and here we go. This is obviously a mess. It's like it's been snowing in the garage, and the bit I'm using for this is actually like an aluminium bit, so it's a bit rougher than the usual sort of style. So, and it cuts through things like butter. I'm no joking, like butter. So yeah, I've got some bits and bobs to clean up anywhere in the garage. So, but it's going to do it for this video. Next video is going to be the assembly of this engine. And the video after that will be fitting it to the car, and like I say, naturally aspirated. First of all, let it all run in fine, happy, and then we'll chuck on a turbo, G25 550 turbo, which would be nice, a nice size for it. And yeah, we're going to be taking to the dyno with a turbo on it, and we'll see you make 300 horsepower and have a bit of fun with it. So yes guys, anyway, thank you for coming along and watching me take apart this D-series. Like I say, I've never done a D-series build before, but I'm interested to see how that girdle works anyway, because so far the flow has just improved like 100%, so that to me is going to be an absolute dream. I'll do the oil pump as well, port all that shit out too. But yeah, anyway guys, thank you for watching the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.